Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a review video that's long overdue. This is actually the perfect time for me to be shooting this video because this week, Niagara has been experiencing some insane heat, and it kind of came out of nowhere. We were having like rainstorms and stuff all the time, and it was kind of like a manageable temperature, and then boom, super hot. Now, I have many times on this channel before talked about my dry skin, and that's because my dry skin is uncomfortable to have, okay? So this skin around my eyes here is so dry that I can, like, feel it crackle and crepe. But the truth of the matter is I shouldn't be classifying myself as someone with dry skin. I should be classifying myself as someone with combination skin, because while my cheeks are dry, my forehead and my nose, and sometimes my chin, so my T-zone, get very oily. And for a long time, I wasn't contributing the oiliness of my bangs to my forehead. But I would, like, use blotting paper at lunch at work, and it would take, like, 4 blotting papers, and they would all still be completely soaked. So my forehead is quite oily, and I kind of went into the makeup world perusing for a primer or something that might mattify it and be good for me to use, so that I could hopefully not have as much of an oily forehead and then have bangs that look cuter longer, that sort of thing. And I tried a couple of drugstore ones, and then I wanted to look at some of the higher end ones, and some of them had not so great reviews. So I decided to bite the bullet and buy a more expensive one to start with. And I'm glad I did, because it's worked really well, and I'm not even interested in trying the rest of them. So what I'm actually talking about is the MAC Studio Fix Mattifine 12-Hour Shine Control Primer. This cost me $48 Canadian, and you can actually get MAC at Sephora now, but I did go specifically to the MAC store because at least here, I really like the MAC store. The girls are really nice there. They're really helpful. So I actually went straight to the MAC store, and MAC is a really great Canadian company that I think kind of, in the sort of modern beauty influencer world, kind of falls under the radar. But they've been a standard in the makeup industry for decades for a reason, right? Because they have good products and a good variety of shades and good variety of finishes that work. And I can't believe there aren't more people talking about this primer. So taking a quick look at it actually on the MAC Cosmetics website. So like I said, this is the Studio Fix Mattifine 12-Hour Shine Control Primer. It says, a mattifying primer that delivers an all-day reduction in the appearance of pores, controls oil and shine, and promises an improvement in skin texture for up to 6 hours. All benefits. Controls oil shine for 12 hours, reduces the appearance of pores for 8 hours, improves skin texture for 6 hours, improves quality of foundation wear at 12 hours, oil-free, immediately mattifies skin, sweat and humidity resistant, does not clog pores, does not cause acne. Of the many things I like about this primer, I like the packaging because the squeezy tube is quite easy to use and you're not like dipping a thing in and recontaminating it every time. But another thing that I really like is a lot of mattifying primers have like a thicker formula and they go on sort of putty-y. And I often find that primers like that do clog my pores. I get acne, but I don't have particularly acne-prone skin. And every time I've ever used like one of them pore-filling primers, I end up with little tiny bumps and like little tiny acnes all over. Because this is more of just like almost like a regular moisturizer type consistency, I don't get that. And I find it very easy to just squeeze a little bit out into my hand and rub it into my forehead. I don't wear this under foundation because I don't really wear foundation very often at all anymore. But what I can tell you is I put this on in the morning. And like I said, it adds a sort of moisturizer texture to put on. But then usually within 5 to 10 minutes, you know, it says gel to powder in the description, and they're not joking. Like, I touch my forehead, and it feels like I've powdered, even though I haven't. My skin feels, like, dry to the touch in a good way, you know what I mean? And then, if I were to check my forehead again at lunch and blot, I probably would get very little, if anything at all, off my forehead, because it really does keep my skin matte. Right now it is 14 hours since I put it on, and I'm starting to get a little bit of oil through in the middle, but that's nothing compared to how it usually would have been. And this is my second day hair, and look at how bouncy my bangs still are. They're not flat to my head like they would have been in a video about a year ago, because my forehead is not here to make my hair oily. I always thought I just had greasy bangs, but it's not my bangs' fault, it's my forehead's fault. Okay, so right now it is 1:35 p.m. and I put the primer on at about 7:30 this morning. So that's what, 6 hours? That's not bad. So a lot of its claims were 6 hours to 12 hours, so we're going to use some of my generic little blotting papers and just see what's going on. I have been sweating this whole time, so let's see. So this is how the blotting paper looks to begin with. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it definitely does have some on it. I don't know if you can even see. Maybe this was a moot point. But it definitely has some on it, but, like, not a lot. It usually, like, it used to, like, crumple and disintegrate, basically, because it was so, like, saturated with goo, even after just, like, 6 hours. Let me take out a new one so that you can see them beside each other. So this is the new one, and this is the used one. So you can see that there definitely is some oil on it, but not like usual. I would say that that's like a normal amount of oil. Like, that's what a normal person is like, not like how I usually am. So, it works. Okay, so just so I could be completely clear and transparent, it is now the next day, and I decided this morning not to put on my primer. I decided to just let my oily skin freeball it. And it is now about 1:30, so it's the same time it was yesterday when I showed you the blotting paper with the primer on. So today we're going to show you how oily my forehead actually gets. So this is the naked, clean blotting paper. Yeah, that is a lot worse. Can you see how much thinner the paper looks now? Let me just compare it to a clean one for you again. So this is how they look fresh out of the package, and then this is how it looks now that it's been on my forehead. So this is much more oily, and also one of the big differences is that even though I blotted, like, my skin still has like a slick feeling to it, whereas with the primer you get like a sort of powder matte finish, and it just doesn't feel as, you know, like when you're sweaty and it's humid, things always feel like a little bit sticky and slick. Like, even blotting, it still feels a little sticky and slick, whereas that goes away with the primer. So the primer is definitely the way to go for me. I'm going to use this one too. So if you're someone with oily skin and you've been really struggling to find a primer to help combat the oiliness, I would really be interested if you tried this. And I would really love to hear your results and your experience, because I don't have the most oily skin on the planet. Like I said, I consider it a combination. But for the oily on my forehead and my nose, and I even used it on my chin a little bit, I find that this is incredible. And I would be so interested to hear how someone with more oily skin than me feels about this. I would also be really interested to hear how someone with more oily skin feels about this with and without makeup, because I don't wear it with foundation. I do wear concealer over it, and so far I have not had a problem with that. But I can't help but wonder, like, how that would work if you have more oily skin than me. But basically the purposes of this review as a whole is to tell you that I had never heard anyone talk about this primer before. I took a $48 chance, and it's exactly what I wanted. Like, it's perfect. I should have known better than to second guess back in my head. I should have known that they were going to have the mattifying primer I needed, and this primer and I are now best friends. And this week especially, because it's been so hot and so humid, like, this is the week that it would have failed if it was going to fail, and my forehead has been fine every day this week. I've gone to work all day. I, like, am nervous to look in the mirror because I'm ready to look like Grandma Wormtongue, and it hasn't happened. Every day I've still had nice dry bangs and a nice dry forehead. And that is all this primer's doing. So this primer gets 2 thumbs up for me for fighting my oil. I would never in my life have it touch my cheeks, but my oily spots, it helps incredibly, and I highly recommend it if you're oily all over or in just spots like me. I want you to try it, and then I want you to tell me what you think. Does MAC do samples? Does Sephora do samples? I know that they did it, but I don't know if they do it anymore, like post-2020. If they do samples, see if maybe your local Sephora has a MAC section, and maybe you can get a sample of it. I don't know. Maybe if you bug them enough on social media, they'll come out with a smaller, like, sample size. And then you can try it that way. I don't know, but I like it, and that's all I know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I will see you next time. Bye!